Hi, my name is Ajit Khurana and I'm the CEO of Zebpay. Today is the 4th of September 2018. Over the last couple of months, we have seen a lot of discussion around Bitcoin. And when I say the word Bitcoin for this video, I probably am including cryptocurrencies in general. People have talked about the seemingly wild price volatility. In the end of December, people were talking about the dizzying heights to which Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency prices had risen. Some people took a favorable view, called it the future of currency, said that this is how money will be in the future. Some others said this was just a scam, a sham, Ponzi scheme, and various other negative words. While these discussions are important to have, and I would say both sides of the discussion are important to participate in, what we would often forget is that what we are primarily discussing is not the coin or token, but the entire new paradigm of the blockchain. More specifically, in this case, the public blockchain. Such a blockchain that nobody controls, where there is no central authority, where participants do not need to trust each other, and the system works by its own uniquely designed architecture. To make a public blockchain work, it is necessary, critical, important, inevitable that you use some sort of token or coin, which the most early form was the Bitcoin. Other coins have evolved since then. But such a token or coin is necessary. Without this, the public blockchain architecture cannot work. You could have private blockchains which are controlled by a central authority. For example, the government of a specific country could run its own blockchain. But while that may have its applications, I think that we cannot deprive India of the benefits of the public blockchain architecture. I think that the public blockchain probably represents such a huge leap forward in our IT journey as probably the email or the internet did about 2 decades or 3 decades ago. As a result, I think that, and actually I would say I'm confident that our government, our regulatory authorities will take a positive and enabling step to let these technologies prosper in India, and that cannot be done without allowing people to buy, possess, and sell these tokens, which are used as governance mechanisms and incentive mechanisms in the public blockchain. However, I think, I must say it's just my humble view that probably a lot of people did not fully understand what this public blockchain is all about and just focused on the movement of the price graph of Bitcoin and started drawing conclusions based on that. Now that is a very dangerous thing to do. All the same, in the late half of 2017, we saw banks proactively shutting bank accounts of customers, traders, investors, as well as of exchanges. This got more acute in the earlier part of 2018. And come early April 2018, the Reserve Bank of India first issued a press release and then a circular saying that in 90 days, which means around 5th or 6th of July, banks will stop offering banking services to anybody, whether an individual or an institution or an exchange such as Zebpay, who is participating in transactions related to or trade related to cryptocurrencies. Frankly, this blew our mind because while the underlying asset, which is the Bitcoin, and like I said for this video, when I'm saying Bitcoin, I really mean all forms of cryptocurrency, the underlying asset was never declared illegal. It was never said that you can't buy, sell, or possess it. But you know what? We were told that you can't do that using a bank account. Why this blows our mind is that, once again, in my extremely humble opinion, the correct way forward here would have been for the authorities to actually insist that if you participate in buying and selling of Bitcoin, you must do it through a banking channel so that the money can be tracked, traced, and there can be a trail where, if somebody needs to find out who was buying, selling, what amounts, etc., at what price, it would be very easy to establish if it was through the banking channel. But in their own wisdom, based on, I'm sure, very deep study, they decided that they will not allow banking channels to support Bitcoin exchanges primarily, as well as others who engage with them. We warned our users that this is going to happen. While on the one hand we were working with the regulators, we were working with the Supreme Court, we were challenging it, educating people, authorities in every governmental body that we could reach. On the other hand, we were telling our users through various mechanisms, through social media, emails, SMS, blogs, what have you, that there could come a time based on the expiry of the 90-day period granted by the Reserve Bank of India, where if they do not withdraw money from Zebpay, I'm referring to Indian rupees, then they may find it impossible, not just difficult, but impossible to get it unless the Reserve Bank of India changes its stand. And while several people withdrew a lot of money, the fact is that several others at the same time were also depositing money. And on the whole, the trust, the love, the affection, the faith, whatever our customers had on us, meant that there was only a slight decrease in the amount of Indian rupees that we were holding on behalf of the customer as advances towards their trades that they wanted to take place, that they wanted to participate in later. Now, when the Indian rupee could neither enter or withdraw or exit the system, uh, Bitcoin and other trades as against the Indian rupee continued. However, what happened is that the Indian markets, which always tend to anyway be 5 to 8% inflated in price over international prices, probably owing to the capital, limitations in capital flow and capital control norms. I do not know what causes that. Suddenly saw a spike of much greater than 5 to 8% in the price of Bitcoin and other currencies in India versus those abroad. While Zebpay is not a buyer or seller of Bitcoin, we are just an exchange. We facilitate and matchmake the order books wherein buyers and sellers come and participate in the marketplace. So we do not decide whether there's a premium, discount, or what sort of price movement occurs. It is based on the demand and supply. Given that we are like a 4-year-old exchange and we in our own heads think of ourselves as one of the front runners in how India deals with and adopts Bitcoin, we did feel to some extent responsible that why is it that Indians should have to pay so much more for Bitcoin than others? Sure, even the sellers were Indian in this case because Zebpay only takes customers, both the buyers and sellers from India. But at the same time, this was leading us to have a lot of discomfort. We continued our efforts, as in day and night. I think like 50% of my time was spent dealing with various governmental bodies, authorities, individuals, traveling to Delhi quite a lot, meeting as many people in Bombay as I could. But despite everything, the 90-day period ended. We had to block withdrawals and deposit of Indian rupees. And today we run a closed system where the rupee can neither be withdrawn nor deposited. And this we don't like. You should understand that the ones who have been hurt the most are you, the customers, because your rupee is now blocked into the system. You continue to do your transactions, and whatever small commission, which ranges from 0.1% to 0.25% that we would charge on transactions depending on the nature of transaction, we end up continuing making that fee. But that is not how we want to do things. Zebpay is a little over 4 years old, as I mentioned a moment ago. I have been in Zebpay. This is my 6th month at Zebpay. And one of the things I find absolutely attractive, most fascinating about Zebpay, and I have had exposure to many companies, old companies, new companies, startups, progressive companies, foreign companies, but one thing that Zebpay stands out in, and I wish I could take the credit for having created that. The fact is, it was always that way when I joined in March of this year. One of the greatest things about Zebpay has all along been that they are manically focused on the customer, right? What that means is that when I sit with any of the teams, the engineering team, the product team, the exchange team, the finance team, the accounting team, the customer support team, the compliance team, and we have other teams also, I've already listed so many of our teams, I notice that underlying every discussion we are having is the customer. What is right for the customer? Will the customer understand this? Will the customer like this? Will this build customer trust? Is this good for customers in the long run? So the focus has always been on the customer, and this is exactly what brought me to Zebpay and continues to encourage me to stay at Zebpay. Now, if I'm saying all of these things, there has to be some proof of the pudding, right? There has to be some way that I can justify what I just said, and that is what the fundamental purpose of this video was, so let me get to it. We have decided that we don't want to be in the comfortable position of holding on to your money and in a situation where you have no choice but to either hold it doing nothing or to transact and thereby give us revenue in the form of commission. We don't like that. We think that what is right for the customers in India, what is right for India, is an opportunity where people can use their money to buy or sell as long as they do it in a transparent manner whenever they like. It is their money. As a result, we are going to make an attempt. I cannot put a timeline to it. I can only say it's going to be as soon as possible. If it was possible for me, as soon as this video is over, I would do it. Maybe it might take a few hours, few days, few weeks. I really cannot comment on the timelines because this is a matter beyond our control. But it will now be our attempt to return the Indian rupee that customers have given us as some form of, like a deposit against the purchases that they want to do as some form of advance or whatever. And we intend to not hold any Indian rupee on behalf of the customer. I do not know when this is going to happen. Like I said, I want it to happen ASAP. When this happens, however, you should note that most of the Indian market, and this is true not just about Zebpay but about several others, most of the Indian market tends to be a fiat to crypto market, which means the exchange is between the Indian rupee and some sort of coin such as Bitcoin. So once the money is sucked out of the system, because we are choosing to hurt ourselves by doing that, because we think it's for the benefit of the customer, it's quite likely that the transaction volumes will shoot down. This will hurt Zebpay a lot. As in, our volumes, our transaction volumes, our fees are all transparent. You can go online and see how much we are transacting, and as a result calculate how much we are making out of it, at least in terms of revenues. There's a good chance that will come plummeting. But I think we really have no choice. If we want to do right by you, we have to give you your money back and then implore the regulators, the Reserve Bank of India, hope for the best that they will agree with us soon. Because I know this is good for India. Sooner or later, everybody will fall in line. I just want this to be sooner. In a couple of more days, we expect the verdict to come out from the Supreme Court hearing that's been going on. And we should have more clarity. But that may or may not happen, right? As in, there might be a favorable verdict, an unfavorable verdict, or a verdict that pushes things along a bit. That will be in the wisdom of the Supreme Court. I cannot comment on that, but I can definitely hope for the best. What we are going to do is try to return your INR to you as soon as possible. Your crypto holdings with us, you can continue to hold with us. If you want, of course, you can withdraw. Okay, there's no reason that will stop you from withdrawing. But if you want to hold with us, you can continue holding with us. We are not giving up here, okay? The purpose of this video is not to tell you that, we are kind of just laying down our arms. On the contrary, we are going to redouble our efforts, but in a way that is suitable for you and suitable for making us feel comfortable that we are doing the right thing. There are a lot of, in reaction to the Reserve Bank action in terms of putting some sort of a banking embargo on an entire industry. Shocking. But, as a result of that, different cryptocurrency exchanges have done different things. Some of them have come up with peer-to-peer kind of trading. While it is easy for us to implement that system, it does not make us feel comfortable, because we believe that though the percentage of cases might not be very many, might not be very high, but when you make person A transact with person B and they are exchanging money from bank account to bank account, tomorrow, if any of these parties is actually not an unsavory party, this could land the counterparty into trouble. So we don't want situations where, for our benefit, to enhance our transactions, we impose upon you some sort of peer-to-peer system, which actually is harmful or potentially harmful for customers. So we actually have given up a lot of trading volumes, or I would say prospective trading volumes, by not allowing peer-to-peer trading, because that can be harmful. At the same time, we have seen some fairly creative solutions being brought about by some exchanges, in the form of, you go to this website and deposit some money and get some sort of credit voucher, which you come and deposit into our exchange and use that as some format of rupee, and then you reverse this, etc. These are fancy mechanisms that people are trying to come to cope with the situation. I'm not going to begrudge them that, because everybody is trying to cope with this unprecedented, unthinkable order where an entire industry is told you can't have bank accounts, while the underlying asset, and this is the key, has never been called illegal or prohibited. So the transactions you're doing are okay, but the bank will not allow it. So because of this unprecedented action, we can see why so many exchanges would come up with these fanciful mechanisms. Uh, I'm not going to speak ill of them, but given Zebpay's philosophy, this doesn't suit us. We don't want to get into situations where uh, the customers are going to potentially land into trouble. Our competitors, we don't really see them as competitors because they also are trying to grow the crypto market as we are. So as other players in this market are trying to come up with coping mechanisms, we are not going to participate in that. We will welcome, work towards, strive towards any form of transaction where we find that the things can be done cleanly and above board, not landing anybody into trouble later. So we are not about to give up. We're going to be back. We're going to struggle to get the absolute best trading platform that India has ever seen. In our heads, I must tell you, we think we already are that. But given the banking problems, we're going to work with the regulator. We're going to make things right. We're going to come back with a very solid plan to continue to support our customers, who I must say have been very accommodating, have been very supportive. As in the worst of times, people seem to have so much faith and trust in Zebpay that we are humbled by it. Thank you very much for that. So let me part with you here today. Uh, I look forward to being back with positive news, with a proper way of transacting and trading cryptocurrency in India. I unfortunately cannot give you a time because the matter is in the Supreme Court, the matter is with really high sounding government institutions. But I hope it will be sooner than later. Until that time, goodbye.